And just where might you be going, my dear? Yes, I did see you. This is a mirror, after all. Did you think that I would miss a face like yours peering over my shoulder? I suspected not. Now, come here, would you? I told you to come here. Don't make me force you. I'm quite certain that neither one of us would be very fond of that, now would we? That is much better. Thank you, dear. Spare me the apologies and the excuses. I know that you did not mean to intrude. I know that you didn't realize what you were walking into. I know that you are going to attempt to appear as if everything is normal, aren't you? Please, you needn't say that. I know that you know exactly what I am referring to. I realize, dear, that you are attempting to show me kindness, that you are attempting to be polite in the hopes of appeasing your superior. However, exactly how daft do you perceive me to be? Do you think that you are the first human to stumble across me like this? Do you think for one moment that I don't know exactly what is going to happen once my back is turned? You're going to pretend that everything is all right, that nothing has happened, that you didn't see anything. But as soon as you rejoin the other servants, the cooks in the kitchen, the maids dusting in the hallways, you're going to mention that the Queen doesn't seem to be quite herself. She no longer seems to be the person you thought you knew. In fact, she no longer seems like a person at all. I have been through this countless times, my dear. I have lived 1,000 lifetimes. I have lived far longer and far more than you could ever imagine. Do not attempt to deceive me. If your growing suspicions are as I expect them to be, you know very well that deception does not work on creatures such as myself. Isn't that right? That's a rather odd question, considering you certainly know the answer. However, I take it you're afraid to say it. You're afraid to say what I am. So you ask me to tell you myself. You think that if you speak the word, if you so much as think it, some horrible evil will be unleashed upon you, don't you? Humans are so predictable in their assumptions and in their fears. You let your fears control you. You let them live inside of you, carving out a deeper and deeper hole, until that is all you are, your fear. You can't live that way forever. Certainly not. Oftentimes, it either leads you and your body to shutting down entirely. You can no longer function. You can no longer do anything. And if your body doesn't shut down with your mind, there are, of course, ways to help the body catch up. Other times, however, if enough people become consumed by their fear, they will turn on each other. They will tear themselves apart tear their neighbours limb from limb, piece by piece, until there is nothing left. Neither option is particularly pleasant. So why don't you do something different? Why don't you allow yourself to conquer this ridiculous fear? Say what I am. You already know the answer. There is no need to fear it. That is correct. As you expected, I am a demon. Why am I here? A cruel string of coincidences allowed me to be here. Forced me to be here would be a more appropriate way of saying it. I was rather similar to you once. In fact, I fell so deeply in love with my duties, fell so deeply in love with the masters I had served, that I no longer wished to exist in a world where I would simply be used and tormented by others who were undeserving of my power. I served 2 young boys, brothers. I served them separately. They remain with me. In fact, I fell into the deepest love possible. I loved them as if they were my own. I loved them as if they were my children, as if I was their mother, their shelter in this world. I served them the only way I could. I granted their wishes, and then I consumed their souls. And after that, I allowed myself to be consumed by the sea, buried beneath the earth. I wished to be left undisturbed. However, the world is cruel and always changing. I don't know exactly when it happened, but somewhere along the way, the ocean and the land beneath it shifted. I was brought to the surface. I lay on the shore of some beach, one that I can't even remember the name of. Your precious king found me. He believed he had revived me. I was exhausted, disappointed, and confused. So I simply played along. I allowed him to play the part of the saviour. And then he asked me to marry him. He asked me to be his. There is a very funny thing about humans, especially men in positions of power. When they ask for something, they aren't truly asking. They are demanding. They believe that what they want is already theirs for the taking. Asking is simply a formality. I didn't have the energy to fight. I'd done enough of that. So I said yes. I agreed to be his queen. I agreed to live in this place, so unfamiliar to me. The only comfort I find in this place is knowing that they can see it too. Luca and Jim Markin They can see it through my eyes, and it brings them so much joy. Am I going to kill you? It is a very tempting idea, my dear. I cannot lie about that, and I certainly wouldn't dare. After all, if you are aware of this, perhaps it will allow you to think more clearly about what you intend to tell the others. After all, if you wish to live, informing others of what I am might not be in your best interest. Oh, please, dear. Do you truly believe that any number of humans is powerful enough for a demon? I have never been anything even remotely close to human. I was born from the purest forms of evil that man has created. I am the sin that lurks within men's hearts. I am the wicked thoughts hiding in the back of your brain. I am everything you despise about yourself, all of the hatred that you tuck away into the corner of your heart and pray to forget. I am all of that and so much more. So I would think twice about stating that the entire kingdom has the power to bring me down. Your hatred for me, your fear and your desire to harm me, they would only feed me. So unless you wish to lead your friends, your family and your neighbours into a massacre, I would advise you to keep your mouth shut. That is correct. If you do as I say, remain obedient to me, I will allow you to live. Of course, that may change at any time, and, as I'm certain you know, being the queen does have its benefits. If I were to tell my husband that you displeased me, that you attempted to harm me in some way, he would see to it that your head wound up on a chopping block. That is, of course, if I didn't get my hands on you first. And believe me, my dear, you do not want to know what I am capable of. You do not know what the children in my mind are capable of. Of course, they cannot act against you alone, but they are whispering ideas to me as we speak. I could have you burned as a witch. I could gouge your eyes out, or take out your tongue. I could break every single bone in your hands and your fingers. What good is this dark knowledge if you cannot share it with anyone? It is wasted, is it not? Then I would advise you to keep your mouth shut. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Very good. Now, dear, do tell my husband that I will be joining him for supper shortly. I still have a few things I need to tend to here. Specifically, my appearance. I certainly wouldn't wish to scare him as much as I scared you. would I?